You're tuned in to a Grown Folks production. In mix with the commish, Nate.
And just like that, welcome into Press Pass Live. Thanks for hanging out with me. I am your commish, Nate. Why is this music so loud in my ear? I don't know why. It was very loud there for just a second, but we've got it figured out. Let me lower it down just a little bit more. We're having a few tech difficulties. I don't know why. It's Monday. That's why. But welcome into Press Pass Live, your weekly podcast show for the OMFL, the world's oldest and longest online CFM. Thanks for hanging out with me. I got my guy Maniac, your commissioner of the Deuce, who just wrapped up season 27, I think it was?
29.
29. There you go. You can see I am scruffy faced. It has been a heck of a Monday. I have been running around with my head cut off. Let's jump right into it. Mr. Maniac, are you ready to do this, bud?
I am ready. Let's rock and roll, man.
Let's do a quick recap. Hold on. Let's get over here. We've got some new OMFL news in store for you today, so hopefully you enjoy that in just a little bit. Let's recap week number 7. I'm going to give that one to you.
All right, so week number 7. There were some interesting games going down this week, and just running down the list here, we got the Las Vegas Raiders versus the Houston Texans. This game looked like it was a fun one to watch. 41-38, the Raiders get the victory here. Both quarterbacks were pretty effective this game. They did have some turnovers, but they were slinging the rock around. Defenses were not involved in this game a whole lot, but when they were, they were making some big plays, like in the interceptions and stuff like that. Great game, though. Looks like Roger may have kind of figured some things out, and definitely the Raiders are in the thick of things there in the AFC West. The Ravens and Lions game, that was a CPU, I believe, 26-3 win for the Detroit Lions. So we're not going to talk about that one too much. If it was a play, then Trey, great job, man, beating the nip there and only allowing 3 points. But all right, Jaguars Titans. I think this is another one that was a CPU with the Pepper.
Mr. Trey says it was not the CPU, so I didn't want to cut you off, but he is definitely making sure that's clear.
Well, then we'll just give him a little props here. Grubbs definitely was on fire. Two touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and also he picked off Jackson twice. Jackson had 243 yards passing, but he was intercepted twice, sacked 6 times. So that defense for the Lions is definitely getting after the quarterback. I believe they're tops in the league right now in sacking the QB. So, again, the Tennessee Titans, Penguins, the new old guy back over here in the OMFL, 36 points against the Jaguars. I do believe that was a CPU, though. Chiefs, Eagles. Man, this was a good game. 34-31. Mr. Shocks fan gets a win over Twinkie and those Eagles. Man, that was a great game. Man, there's so many games. You just start looking down the list like, man, this was a great one. This was a great one. The Jets squeak out a victory over the Patriots, 39-33. This game, both teams look like they had a lot of offensive power going on. Dak Prescott had 4 touchdowns, but he did have 4 interceptions thrown. Zach Wilson for the Jets, 4 touchdowns, 2 picks, only 2 sacks in this game, and those 2 were registered by the Patriots. We saw a game that they played against you, I think, and he was definitely after the quarterback a lot. They did have a pretty good rushing attack. Austin Eckler, 92 yards rushing, no touchdowns, but definitely effective rushing game there for New England, with Gibson putting in 63 yards of his own. And then the wide receiver Thornton for New England, 117 yards, 2 touchdowns. Freeman for the Jets, 107, 2 touchdowns, and Justice for the Patriots had 2 touchdowns as well. So both these guys have excellent receiving core, but the Jets there get a 3-point victory over the Patriots. The Brownies and little Koch, man, he's got something going on there in Cleveland. 41-31 victory over the Mounties. Definitely, little Koch has put some things together there, and good to see those Brownies competing in that very tough division. The Packers, Mr. Cheesehead himself, the Priest, 32-17 victory over Colin and those Giants. Both teams have kind of had up and down season so far. I think Priest has actually put together a couple wins here in the last couple weeks, but Colin, those Giants, man, they've got a lot of really good players on that roster, and interested to see what he does the rest of the season. The Commanders 24-0 victory. Bill flexing some muscle there over the Denver Broncos and Jay Glaze. Let's see what he did in this game. Only 88 yards passing for Sam Howell. 1 touchdown, 1 interception. But he picked off Denver's quarterback 6 times. And anytime you turn the ball over that much, it's going to be hard-pressed to win a game. But
Jay Glaze. I was confused for a second. I was like, not Denver, Jay Glaze.
Did I say Denver?
Yeah. Did you mean Denver?
Denver, yeah.
Oh, okay. That makes much more sense. I was like, wait a second. How'd Denver get in this conversation?
Denver, are you trying to take over the Broncos? No. No, the Commanders, though, where he excelled in this game was the rushing attack. I mean, his rookie running back, Larry Goodwin, so it was a good one. 18 carries, 137 yards, 7.6 yards a carry, 2 touchdowns, and then Brian Robinson Jr., 54. So, but he was toting the rock, man, controlling that clock, because he didn't have much of a passing game going. But man, that defense, we got to look at the defense, especially since we said they had 6 picks, and Forbes had 2, Forrest had 2, Davis had 1, Tompkins had 1. So man, it was just feasting over there in that backfield for the defense for the Commanders. I wish every time you backed out of the game, it wouldn't scroll all the way back, because man, I had to. That's just so annoying. But Saints with a big win here, 33-10 over the Rams. Man, you look like you were on fire this game. But Shalabad, man, he's a good player. I mean, he hung 33 points on him, so great job there. Falcons, Cardinals, this game was kind of close at one point, but the Cardinals did managed to get on top 10 touchdowns. No, 10 points, 38-28 over the Falcons. Man, this game was a hard fought by both teams. Another game here. This game in the past could have playoff implications, but this could be an OMFL bowl matchup here with the Buccaneers versus the Condors. The Buccaneers have actually struggled this season, but He did not struggle this game. Looked like they played a really good game here by the Buccaneers. 21-20 victory over the Condors. Man, that was a good game. Both teams looked like they were passing the ball around really well. 3 touchdowns by Ryder, 2 by Richardson. So great game by these guys, and they only committed 1 turnover each. So, but the big thing here was Ryder was sacked 6 times. So just to him, getting 3 touchdowns and 334 yards passing. So kudos to Kev there in that game. But man, what a game. What a game to play there in a 21-20 victory. San Francisco doing his thing against Denbrew, the real Denbrew, and the Bengals, 45-20. So, D-Money's got to flex his muscle every once in a while. So, but he did this game. And then last but not least, the Panthers, 40-30 victory over the Dolphins. Both these teams have so much speed, so much firepower, man. It could have been 50 burger for both sides here, I think. But, man, that's the wrap up for week 7.
All right, let's take a look at week number 8. You and I had a really fun game. This one was kind of weird. I sort of jumped out kind of quick, and then I had a couple of really crazy turnovers that you forced me into, especially in the red zone. And then I ended up scoring super late in this game with 45 seconds left. I did what I thought, missed my onside kick. Somehow it hit your dude right in the face. Flew down, Saints recover. I got a timeout, less than 30 seconds. I feel like I'm really close, and then I get sacked and throw a pick at the same time, and you end up winning that game. But just another really good game between two guys who play each other a ton. I'm going to skip a bunch of these. I'm just going to talk to the ones that really stick out to me. I think this one was a CPU game. Orlando with a 49-28 victory over Denver. Might be wrong on that. It's hard to keep up with which one of these are CPU games and which one of these are not. Minnesota with a 34-21 victory over the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, Pittsburgh did have their starting quarterback that was benched for a couple of games, and it looked like it showed up in this game as one of those issues. But give it to Minnesota, finding a way to win against one of the very tippy-top teams that we have in the AFC and in the OMFL in general. Buffalo with a 30-20 victory over New England. New England still playing without their starting quarterback, who was a rookie, injured week number 1. He would get him back in the very next week whenever he and I played, or I think it was 2 weeks after this. I don't know, something like that. We played this week. I think we're currently in week number 9, so he did get his starting quarterback back. But I think I said Bill, but I'm sorry. It's still Bill and Buffalo in my head. It was Big Hurt with a big victory over New England, 30-20. But I'm telling you now, we're going to talk about New England in just a little bit. They are a team on the rise that you should keep an eye out for. Arizona with a 48-36 victory over the Cleveland Browns. Arizona in that air raid, he can put tons of points on anyone. But look at this game. 32 points scored in the fourth quarter combined between both of these teams. Only 1 turnover for the Arizona Cardinals, 4 of them, though, for the Cleveland Browns. And that happens sometimes with a young quarterback. Vasily Dristic, or however you want to say it, Vasily Dristic, I don't know. That's when we need Trey. He's got that great accent. He knows how to say all these names properly. He struggled today, being sacked 3 times and giving up 4 interceptions. He's going to have to play much better for those Browns to continue their winning ways. Seattle with a 37-14 victory over Jacksonville. I think that also may have been a CPU game. What is another game that I remember watching? The Vegas Raiders versus the Philadelphia Eagles, 34-24. A big victory there for the Raiders, who've had a little bit of an up and down season so far this year after such a great run last season. It's good to see them get some wins, and Philadelphia is a team that I think we could also spend a lot of time talking about, because he is one of those teams that's just almost there, almost a winning season, almost a playoff team, and just can't quite get over the hump, and I'm pulling for him to be able to figure that one out. Cincinnati with a 42-37 victory over the Miami Dolphins. What a great win for the Cincinnati Bengals. The Miami Dolphins have tools on every side of the field. Now, he started to move some of those tools, and after this game, he moved his superstar fast tight end over to the Cincinnati Bengals. A little bit of a head scratcher there, but Cincinnati adding to some of the firepower they have and winning this game against a tremendously great offense in the Miami Dolphins. And then finally, the last game that I wanted to cover, I think it was the last game. Yes, it is. Tampa Bay versus the New York Jets. We end up watching this game, and we were talking in the board chat because I try not to always talk in the main chat when a game's going on because guys end up reading that stuff. I was like, what's Kevin doing? He's throwing this game away. And he just was throwing so many picks that I'm sorry, Kev, I love you. I know you're here. They were not Madden picks. Those were just bad decisions and double and triple coverage. And he quite literally threw this game away. He was the better team today. He played the better game. He just made really terrible decisions and inopportune times. 6 interceptions on the day to only 2 from the New York Jets. And Kevin just gave it away and threw that one away. And that's a look at week number 8. I'm going to give it to you for week number 9.
All right. And I will just admit here, like, I think, like a lot of the guys that were playing got used to throwing some certain type of routes in All Pro, and they were always, pretty effective. And All Madden, they kind of seemed to react a little bit better. So anyway, that's just a little side quote there. But we're moving on to week 9. We got the Bills here against Miami, big division rivalry here. Big Hurt moving in to Buffalo, facing off against Massimo, 35-14 victory over those Dolphins. Big Hurt just plays defense really good.
He does,
and he can lock down your best offensive weapons and just make mistakes, and that's what happened here. Gordon Hitchens had 3 interceptions thrown, but there wasn't really no sacks. But I know sometimes sacks don't show what pressure has done to that quarterback. And so the games that I've watched, those Bills and played against the Bills, man, they come after the quarterback and they get you on your toes and on your heels and everything else. But great win there by the Bills against that division rival. Texans, again, you talk about the Eagles. We talk about the Texans. Roger, he's been kind of in some games here again, facing off against Penguins, 39-29. The Tennessee Titans get the victory, but 10 points there. And then Houston putting up 29 points. He just seems like he's getting some things kind of figured out. Definitely has done a lot better with the quarterback. He did have 3 interceptions in this game, but he's flinging the rock around. He 343 yards with Stroud, 58% completion. That's a little bit low, but again, he was passing 34 times and trying to make things happen. But man, hopefully, we can see Roger start getting some wins underneath his belt. All right, the Saints at the Patriots. This was one of the games that you were talking about where the Patriots did get their star rookie back. Oddly enough, Rusty Starr is his name. He did have 4 interceptions, though, so he kind of got a wake-up call against the Saints defense. It shows no sacks, but there was some pressure. Again, like I said, sometimes those sacks numbers, which you like to see the sacks, but that pressure does affect those throws. But, man, that defense by the Saints was around the ball all night long in this game. And none other bigger than Jordan Howden. 3 picks in this game, and I think you were using him quite a bit. And man, you were just in position time and time again, making missed throws, deflections, and then of course you get these 3 interceptions. So really, you're probably like one of the top free safety users in this league. I can't use the free safety or safety. I get them all out in left field and get burnt. So, but good job there getting the win, 28-24 over those Patriots. We got the San Diego Superchargers at the CPU Jacksonville Jaguars, and CPU has not been real fun for most guys, but
Is it still the
Chargers,
CPU?
From what I've seen, it's still the CPUs, but 30-24 victory there, and so the Chargers have made big headways there in the AFC West, kind of taking a stranglehold there the last couple of seasons. Philadelphia gets the win over the Giants, 24-20. Twinkie here with a great game. 3 touchdown passes, but Jalen Hurts, 204 yards, was sacked twice. The young rookie quarterback for the Giants, Charles Norris, was 0 for 4 on this day. He had 4 interceptions, 19 of 31, 61%. So he was flinging the rock around. Not a whole lot to pinpoint on the rushing. Let's see who was the top receiver in this game. Jalen Hyatt, 91 yards receiving for the Giants. Barkley was second with 82. Dallas Goedert had 6 catches, 67 yards, 2 touchdowns. And then Devontae Smith had 4 for 49. So that tight end was definitely just wrecking havoc on those Giants. I got some unplayed games here. Pittsburgh 49-0 over the Rams. We won't comment about that one, man. He was just he was taking it to him there. 49 points. The Rams threw 6 picks. So again, those picks can be costly. The Mounties get a win over the Vikings, 37-24. Bill in New York is the defending Deuce champion, and he's kind of brought some of that success over into the OMFL this season, especially you see the confidence. Gaston Walter had 3 touchdowns to 1 pick. Deshaun Watson had 2 touchdowns in this game, 243 yards. Walter had 400 yards passing. But it looks like the Mounties mounted a rushing attack in this game with 96 yards by Stevenson and 62 by A.J. Dillon, both combining for a touchdown in this game. Just looked like a hard-fought game. Justin Jefferson did put up a lot of numbers here, 5 receptions, 178 yards, 2 touchdowns. So, and he had a long of 83, so he was the big-time threat. And then DJ Moore brought in 95 of his own yards on 7 catches. But that was a good game there in the Mounties, and Tim get a 37-24 victory. San Francisco, this is a game that you have to highlight, and I really,
could be game of the year.
Yeah, it could be game of the year. Give Bert some props, man. I didn't think it would be quite this close. I knew he would give him a run, but man, he played an exceptional game. Bryce Young, 220 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Trey Lance, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. He was sacked once. The rushing, Isaiah Pacheco was kept in check. 74 yards only, 4.4 yards. We've seen D-Money have upwards in the neighborhood of like 9 yards a carry. He did get 2 touchdowns, but man, he kept him in check. And Sanders, 68 yards for the Panthers and a touchdown. So this game was just really hard-fought, defensive type of battle. And we don't usually talk about guys making tackles, but I had to give some props here to Edward McNair, the free safety for the Panthers. 13 tackles in this game, so he was flying around the ball. And then Fred Warner also had 2 tackles, 2 for a loss and an interception. But, man, it's both these guys were just kind of laying not so much haymakers, but man, they were playing it close to the vest, and this was just a great game. 24-22 victory for the 49ers, but Carolina showing that they can run with the big dogs here. And I'll talk about one more, the Cowboys versus the Packers. This game, Dwayne had a stellar game here with Justin Fields. I was going to say Jay Fields, but Justin Fields, 287 yards, 3 touchdowns, 14 of 23, 1 sack. And then on the other side of the ball, Marco Feldman, 7 interceptions. Priest kind of doing his Priest
He's
impression.
back to his old ways.
yeah, with 4 sacks. And so anytime you turn the ball over that many times, it's just so hard. And then Tony Pollard with that rushing attack for the Dallas Cowboys, 3 touchdowns, 116 yards, 7.3 yards a carry, and then on top of that, Derrick Henry, man, the big man, 87 yards, 12 yards a carry. So anytime you get hand gift Dwayne some presents, and then he's got that rushing attack going, it's just going to be a long day for you. Luke Musgrave, 5 receptions, 188 yards at a touchdown. And then the big play man there in Dallas, Tyler Benn, 7 catches, 155 yards and a touchdown. Bass adding 100 yards with a touchdown. CeeDee Lamb, only 2 catches with 28 yards, but 1 touchdown there for the Dallas Cowboys. So, all right, that's your wrap up for Week 9.
We laugh before we start Press Pass Live every week about how, there's not a lot. We can get through this in a pretty good time. We're 30 minutes deep and we've only covered 3 weeks. Like, we haven't even got to Press Pass Live. It's just like the quick air quotes review that we do. So we will have to put on our go gadget rocket boots here, because I do have to get ready for church in just a little bit. All right, let's look at what we're looking for in week number 10. Ravens, Packers. I don't know who pissed off Nipples last night in chat, but my guy is rocking and roaring. He's going to the AFC Championship game. He's got his tickets for real life, and man, he might make Priest pay for it. He is a pickoff machine, and Priest is back to his old ways of throwing picks. That one might get ugly pretty quick. Patriots and Giants, the battle of 2 rookie quarterbacks. Chuck Norris versus Rusty Starr. Like, what are we doing, Roger, with these names? It's going to be really, really fun to see that game. Jets and Bengals could be a really top-tier matchup, and a preview to a matchup we may see whenever we get to the AFC playoffs. Eagles and Broncos. Can the Eagles finally get over the hump and get a win against the struggling Broncos? Well, time is going to tell. Steelers and Broncos. I think the Steelers are going to have their starting quarterback back by this game. Browns trying to find some momentum. This could just be a fun matchup between 2 teams. Offensive firepower for the Browns, defensive firepower for the Steelers, but he does have the ability. We've seen Penguins way too many times put up 50, 60 points before. That could be just a really, really fun matchup. Bills and Buccaneers. Big Hurt versus Mr. Kevin. Kevin is not happy this season. He is struggling, but I have seen him put up tons and tons and tons of points time and time again. This is going to be another game that I think he can continue to do that. This could be a fun matchup between offensive firepower against defensive powerhouse. And then Chargers and Cowboys, 2 guys who are really close buddies. Black Cats have things rolling over there in the AFC. We know what Dwayne is with the Dallas Cowboys. It's just going to be fun to watch 2 really close friends go at it and have a really great game. Let's turn it over for week number 11. What are we watching for in week number 11?
All right, week number 11, there's a lot of games here, but the Cowboys and Giants, I think, could be an interesting one. Can Colin kind of kick the can and get back on track? He had won, I think, 3 of the first 5 games, and now it's kind of went on a little bit of a skid. But the Cowboys, are the constant that is in the OMFL, and so this will be a great game here in this division, the NFC East. So probably tune in and watch this one. Raiders and the Mounties. I know maybe you might go like, what? Raiders and the Mounties? Well, both guys, I think, in my mind, play similar type of ball. And so I think this game could match up really well. Both these guys do like to try to get a run game going, but they do like to use the quarterback as well. And but I think it's just this game's gonna prove whose defense shows up. And but maybe this one could be one of the kind of like undercard to watch and not for like a main event. But man, these guys do tend to light up the scoreboard at times. So keep an eye on this one. Jets at the Dolphins. I don't know if Massimo is turning the white flag or what, but the Jets, Kobe, he is just always seems like right there. But the Dolphins do have so many weapons, and I just can't see that they have turned it in yet, but they may have. But this has always been a good matchup, and so just keep your eye on that one as well. Commanders at the Eagles. Bill and Twinkie here. This game could get interesting. The Commanders seem to have a better hold on the defensive side than they do the offensive side, but he does have a good running game there with the Commanders taking over from Big Hurt. Mr. Bill is there though now. So the Eagles, can they continue putting up some points and getting the W's here instead of getting those close losses? So this will be a good game, a good matchup. And then we got the Falcons at the Saints again. This is going to be probably another close one, but this time we're at the Saints' house. So anytime you have to play in New Orleans, things can get a little interesting. So the Falcons going to have to bring their A game here, but the Saints are going to be ready. So I think this will be one. It may be a snoozer, kind of like the last one, or we could see some fun stuff going on in this one. But nonetheless, it'll be a fun one to check out. Chargers at the Broncos, another game for the AFC West. I think these two guys do like to play each other, and they do match up really well. So Black Hats just really has done a significant job with the offense, but he's playing good defense as well. Broncos here with Jay Glaze. He's kind of up and down. 1 week he'll put up a lot of points. The next week he can't put up any points, can't stop anybody. So we'll just see how this one turns out. Another big matchup. We got two more to talk about. The Panthers at the Seahawks. Again, we just saw the Panthers lose that game to the 49ers by 2 points. This is going to be another good matchup here. It could be playoff implications, but these two guys do like to throw the ball deep, get you on the play action pass, so they kind of match up really well. I think it's just going to be whose defense shows up. And then last but not least, D-Money. We got D-Money and the 49ers against Trey and the Lions. I think this game is going to be
a fun one.
Yeah, this will be the one to call, to watch, to check out. Make sure that you got it tuned in because it's going to be interesting and it'll be entertaining, I'm sure. So, but the Lions have been really good with their offense. They always seem to have those big play making ability wide receivers, and then the 49ers are kind of a little bit more consistent, play really strong defense, but they like that running game. I think both these guys just match up really well. They kind of almost like yin and yang here because one does really good at one thing, the other one does a little bit better at another thing. The Lions are really good at getting after the quarterback, so the Lions get up, the 49ers have to throw a lot. It could be a sack fest for the Lions. So anyway, this game is one to watch. So tune in.
I agree. That's going to be a really good game. What's up, Bird? Good to see you, buddy. That's okay. Week number 12, and we've done our recap, and we can actually get to some new things. Rams Falcons. Just personally want to see this one. I know what your Falcons can do. You can put up so many points. There's been a few speed bumps along the way, but this is still very much an opportunity for you to continue to make a run. Shiloh Bad is just an underrated team. He just can't quite put it all together just yet. He's pretty aggressive on defense. could be a really fun game to be able to watch. Panthers and Patriots could just be fun because Rusty Starr is going to be back for a few weeks by then. He maybe can have some of those rustiness worked out of him. He could give Bird something to think about. He is a team that can turn you over and make a ton of plays on that side of the ball. Bills and Jets, Big Hurt versus Kobe, two guys that play outstanding defense, can have really good run games. They kind of both do it all really well. That's just going to be a really fun matchup to watch. Cardinals and Vikings. We talked about the Vikings a little bit, but they seem to be able to figure a couple of things out this season more than they have in the past. Bill is building something there in Minnesota. The Cardinals can hang 50, 60, 70, 80 points on people. He's got a great offense. This is going to be a really fun game in Minnesota to watch. Could be a great way for Bill to kind of show the OMFL that he has arrived. Ravens and Seahawks. Sign me up for this one. I want to watch this one. Two guys that talk on mic often, and you just never know what either guy is going to say. Meek versus Nipples. Sign me up. I'm watching this one. Two playmakers on both sides of the ball. That's going to be a ton of fun to be able to watch that one. Eagles and Cowboys. Again, we talk a lot about Dwayne. He's got a great run game. That pass game can kind of come and go, but on defense, he can make you pay. I've been really impressed by Twinkie and the Eagles. He still has a few bumps to figure out when he turns the ball over just in inopportune times, but he plays really good defense, and he's got some playmakers there on offense. And then finally, Dolphins and Steelers. It feels like the Dolphins had punted. I don't know why, but it just feels like they've punted this season. By then, the Steelers are rock and rolling. They've got their quarterback back. That defense is playing great. What happens in this game could be a close one. Could be a ton of fun to watch. A preview of what we will see in the AFC playoffs are. By then, the Dolphins may have punted, and it could be all over by then. Either way, I'm tuning in for a really good game. And now, let's talk about some OMFL news. Let me welcome in our guy, Mr. Denbrew, with the OMFL news. Something brand new for you this week. Denbrew, take it away.
Welcome back to the OMFL news. I am Denbrew. This is season 108. We are in week 9. It's been a minute since I've talked to you guys. So we got a little business to take care of before we get going. First off, we got to congratulate season 107 OMFL Bowl winner Bronco Man and his Condors for having one hell of a season and going on and winning the OMFL Bowl. So congratulations, Bronco Man. We also had to say goodbye to Titans fan and Titans owner, The Truth. He is taking a little bit of a break from the OMFL. I'm sure he'll be back, kind of get things straightened out, and he'll be back with us soon enough. When one door closes, another door opens, and we got to say hello again to Penguins. He jumps right back into the OMFL and takes over the Titans. So welcome back, Penguins. Segment 2 is coming up. We are going to take a look at some of the rookies and see who has been standing out in the rookie class in season 108. See you in segment 2. Back to Nate. Back to Maniac. See you.
There you have it, Mr. Denbrew with the OMFL news. We've got 3 special topics that we're going to unpack today. And number 1 is going to be a dominant division. We're going to take a quick look at the AFC North. And Maniac, the question I'm posing to you here is, which of these teams is going to win this division? Everyone is still very much in it. Denbrew in his Bengals at 7-1. Steelers, Penguins are, that's not right. Sorry, Penguins, and sorry, Cincyberg. Penguins is back, so now it's Steelers in my head, but Cincyberg and his Steelers at 6-2. Little Koch and the Browns are sitting at 5-3, and Nipples and the Ravens at 4-4. And I'm going to let you take it first because my wife is calling me to make sure everything's good.
All right. Well, this division, man, I'm telling you, they're top to bottom. Every one of these owners could win this division easily. But I think with each one of these guys being so competitive and do such a great job at roster building. I think if you had to label the roster building, I think just in this division, I think the way it is set up right here is almost exactly the way I would put it. The Bengals at number 1, Steelers at number 2, Browns at number 3, Ravens at number 4. Again, that's just for this division, not for the league as a whole. But I think some of that kind of implicates like how things are going for each team. You just saw that the Bengals picked up the dynamic tight end from the Dolphins, adding more weapons to that already stacked offense that he has. And I think that's just going to be one of the things that you see that'll help propel the Bengals as they go forward. I know the Steelers kind of into some legal issues there, so so they've kind of taken maybe a step back. But the Browns are kind of like right on the cusp of things. You've got them with a young quarterback, young offense, but he's got so much speed, so much weapons, and I just see that as being something that eventually is going to pay off for him, probably like in the last season, maybe the season before the last. You'll start to see those guys really build up. But to me, I think, again, like I said, the way the rosters are built, I think this is the way you're going to see this division run out. In the end, you're going to see the Bengals be atop this division going into the playoffs. And then I think the Steelers are that number 2, nipping at the heels of the Bengals, and I think that's how it's going to kind of play out, though. I think the rosters do play a significant role, though, in what's going to happen.
Yeah, I agree with everything that you said. I think the Bengals making the move for Rivers from Massimo and the Dolphins is very interesting because that guy can make plays. He can fly around the field. He is such a dynamic playmaker. And when the Bengals can add more playmakers and more weapons for Burrow to use, that could get really, really dangerous there for the AFC North. The question to me will be, the Steelers now have their, or if they don't have him back, or getting his starting quarterback very soon. And these teams are all so even. Does that extra kind of boost, like, let's just call a spade, since he feels like the league is against him, maybe that I'm against him, and I feel like he's got something to prove, and he's trying to prove some points. He went and made some deals right here at the trade deadline. So look for the Pittsburgh Steelers to have revenge on the mind, and sometimes that can go a really long way as you come to the end of a season about who will win it. The question mark for me is what happens at the bottom of this division, and does somebody play spoiler all of a sudden out of the blue randomly to one of these top teams? Does the Browns beat his buddy in the Bengals? Do the Browns somehow sneak by the Steelers in some kind of rainy, cold game in Pittsburgh or in Cleveland? Does the Ravens all of a sudden wake up and get beyond this 4-4 business and begin to stack and pile wins? He has such a dynamic quarterback, such a dynamic running game. We know what he can do in the pass game on defense. He can pick you off and make you just become a one-sided team. What happens at the bottom here that affects the tippy top? I tend to lean towards the Bengals winning this division, but it isn't going to shock me to see the Steelers have revenge on the mind, go for it. And then again, the big question for me is what happens at the bottom of this division? And does somebody play spoiler? Because they're all so very even in a whole lot of ways. Could be a ton of fun. Let's play the blame game now, Mr. Maniac. This is going to be a ton of fun. And openly, admittedly, I almost put myself in this one, but I want to play the blame game and look at two teams in particular that clearly I had a bad season last year. This is why I didn't put myself in this. And I'm having a bad one again this year, so I'm not putting myself in that. But the Broncos had a pretty decent season last year, and now they have totally turned the opposite way, and they don't even seem to be competing in games. And then our buddy Kevin, he's here today. The Buccaneers won this division, was setting records, doing all kinds of crazy things on offense, winning this division as a 14-win team. And now he has sort of turned the other way, though one could argue offensively has already figured things out. What is or who is to blame for both of these teams?
It's your fault. It's your fault. It's the blame game. Oh, I'm just this
Kevin already in chat has blamed you, just so that you know.
Yeah. Kevin hates all Madden. I mean, there's no doubt about that because he has voiced to me that he hates it, and I'm sometimes I don't really like it a whole lot either. But I think the and I have to kind of like use myself as an example. I think sometimes the deal is we and myself, guys, have trouble transitioning, adjusting. You get used to doing something a certain way, and just like I had mentioned at the top of the show or whatever, some passing formations just worked really well in All Pro. It seemed like they were always open. Post routes is one of the ones that always seemed like it was open a lot, and it seems like, sometimes you kind of get that in your brain, like, okay, this is going to be open. I've got to get it here. And then all of a sudden, now you're playing it and this guy's undercutting, cutting the ball off, or your quarterback's not throwing it quite as pretty as they have in the past or something. And so they make a play on it. But I really think just in both guys' instance, I think just the ability to adjust to what's happening in the league. And again, I'll throw myself there as well. Like, I'm not trying to just step on everybody's toes, but sometimes you just get into a rhythm with Madden a certain way, and things change up, and you just cannot get yourself out of that rhythm, out of that that habit of doing something one way, and then it takes you forever to get yourself out of it, and then all of a sudden you have the game change again or something. And so it's just like a never-ending battle that you'll face. But I do think if you look at both guys' rosters, I think both guys have still really good rosters. Both have good quarterbacks. The Bucs obviously had the 99 overall Ryder, hands down the best quarterback in the OMFL. Him and Hutchinson, I don't know. Hutchins from the Dolphins, you could make a case for either one, but I feel like Ryder is the more rounded guy because he does have a little bit of speed to him that he can scramble and make you pay that way as well. And I haven't played the Dolphins quarterback as much, so I don't know for sure what all he can do, but I just know Ryder is that guy. And then the Broncos, they have a young guy that they just drafted last season. His name's really odd. It's like I can't think of it right now. It's like Quaker Oats or something. I don't know.
Clyde Quaker. I was like, which one are we talking about? Oh yeah, Clyde Quaker.
Quaker, yeah. I was all like Quaker Oats, yeah. But he's really a solid quarterback. He's got a lot of good stats and that he can build around and stuff. But again, just those things that change a little bit, you start to notice, like, I used to be able to do this, I could do that, and you don't change, you don't evolve with what's going on. You just kind of try to continue to do the same thing, and sometimes it can bite you in the butt. And I think that's where you see the Bucs and the Broncos have struggled with. And again, like I said, I'll throw myself in there too, because I was expecting to really turn things around this season, and all of a sudden I got slapped with reality, like, ooh, yep, I'm doing the same thing over and over and expecting stuff to happen the same way, and it's not. So,
yeah, when it comes to the Broncos, I'm blaming Clyde. He is 9 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, and 53% completion percentage. Only has given up 18 sacks. And if you look at his offensive line, compared to some offensive lines, they've not done too bad. I mean, he definitely has been kept upright more than he hasn't. He has a bit of a running game, 641 yards by rookie Ross Carter. Now he needs to find a backup running back situation. I mean, there's not a whole lot there from anybody, and you've got Naheem Hines there. He's got so much speed, you would expect that he would have gotten more carries. Marvin Mims Jr. still getting it done, 33 receptions, 664. But when I look at the Broncos overall, I would have to blame their offense, and it's being led by a second-year quarterback that hasn't put all the pieces together. Only 1,600 passing yards, 99 for 186. And so the blame for me is going to go to the quarterback play. And I don't know if it just needs a revamp in a playbook, if it needs to spread it out, a spread offense, if he needs to put in some option plays. But there is something that needs to be brought up to date in this Bronco offense that gets them some more wins than what we've seen. And when it comes to the Buccaneers, I see Kevin. He's giving you his own personal list right here. I'm not even touching the defensive tackle conversation, but I will say some of my fellow board members are now getting a little taste of it, and they too don't like it. So I see it being a larger conversation this next offense. But Ryder, pretty good season, already 2,800 yards passing. He's got 22 touchdowns. But here's the problem with the Buccaneers. 19 interceptions, 53% completion percentage. Now I know in chat, you can go read it yourself. Kevin says that premier wide receivers don't feel premier. Let me just rattle off some stats for you, Mr. Maniac. Halfway through the season, Chris Godwin's got 51 receptions for 1,100 yards and 9 touchdowns. Trey Palmer, 36 receptions for 920 yards and 9 touchdowns. I don't know what he's talking about. That looks pretty premier, feels pretty premier to me, and neither one of those guys I would consider to be super premier guys. They're just speedy guys. Look at his halfback situation. Only 487 rushing yards. Maybe that's a problem. Maybe don't throw 19 picks. Maybe don't get sacked 40 times. 40 sacks on the season. It isn't all Madden. It's your offensive line is a problem, and he's got to get that figured out. And then when you look at the defense on both of these teams, neither one of them are getting premier sack numbers. Hey, a lot of us aren't, but that's a bit of a problem when you look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and neither one of them are getting high interception numbers. They're not turning the other teams over. And so I think it is a bit of a lazy take, and I'm talking to me in that as well, to just blame all Madden. There's some blame to be taken about how we've designed our offenses and our defenses to fit the way that all Madden plays. And I will admit there has been some changes that have happened over the since we've made the decision to go all Madden. But when you look at those two teams specifically, those are some of the issues. And this is what we'll do. Maniac and I will blame our own selves and talk about our own teams in a future Press Pass Live episode, so you guys don't feel like we're just picking on you. All right, my last special topic is not there just yet, but on their way. Two teams, one in the AFC, one in the NFC, that you think are on their way. Their records are not representing what they are or who they are. I'm going to go first here, and I want to talk about my AFC team. And then I'll go to you, and you'll pick about one of your teams. Then we'll come back, and then we'll go back. And then we got an OMFL news that we can unpack. And then we'll, matter of fact, let's do this. Let's go OMFL news now. Then we'll do this special topic. Then we'll open up a quick mailbag. Hopefully there are not lots of new questions because we're already an hour deep and we should be wrapping up this show. So, Mr. Denbrew, take OMFL news away.
We are back. Segment number 2 of your OMFL news. Going to take a look at some rookies here. Starting us off, quarterback for the Detroit Lions, Cale Grubbs. He was a late first-round pick, averaging over 300 yards per game and 15 touchdowns. Having a nice year for Trey up there in Detroit. A running back I know well, Pittsburgh's Demario Clayton, a 6th-round pick, 767 yards on the season, and that's through 7 games, I believe, and 11 touchdowns for Demario Clayton. Having an excellent year there, looking like your early rookie of the year. Denver's running back, Ross Carter, a 4th-round pick with 641 yards on the year. Miami's got another rookie running back. I just played Miami. He's tough. Denzel Williams, a 3rd-round pick, 564 yards on the year. He's averaging over 6 yards a carry. I'm sure I helped pump those numbers up. Another rookie that I faced, a wide receiver out of Cleveland, Eli Barkley, late 2nd-rounder. Not only is this dude a rookie, but he's also leading the league in receiving with 1,097 yards, and he's got 10 touchdowns receiving, and I think he's got a little bit on the ground as well. Staying on the offensive side, one more at tight end, Seattle's Nathan Calhoun, taken 19th overall. Not only is he the leading rookie tight end, but he's also leading the Seahawks in receiving. He's got 31 catches on the year and 556 yards. A quick look at some defensive guys. Detroit, Trey, middle linebacker, Bruce Ross, taken late in the 3rd round, 47 tackles, 8 tackles for loss, and an INT. Not to be outdone by his NFC North counterpart. The Green Bay Packers have a middle linebacker, Joey Gallery, a 5th-round pick. He's got 64 tackles on the year, 12 tackles for loss, and he chips in with 2 INTs. Insane. Both of those guys are leading their teams in tackles. Philadelphia has a strong safety. I think it was Tony David. I look like I had a little typo there. Tony David, a 3rd-round pick. 47 tackles, but he's got 5 interceptions on the year. He's leading his team in tackles. And then Tampa Bay, another guy I've played against, Andrew Lawrence. I think I threw at least 1 pick to him. He's got 38 tackles, but he's got 3 interceptions. That's a wrap on segment 2. Back to Nate, back to Maniac. See you for one last segment.
Thank you, Mr. Denbrew, for the OMFL News. We got one more segment coming right up to you. Okay, the team in the AFC that I think is not there just yet, but they are well on their way, are going to be the New England Patriots and my guy, Lost Sniper. Now, I got a first-hand taste of him just last night. That didn't come out the way I wanted. I didn't actually taste him, but I played his team last night, and I can tell you, Rusty Starr's got some rust to knock off. He is a rookie. Rookies always tend to turn the ball over just a bit more than normal, but let him build Rusty Starr up, and that team is going to be on their way. Eckler is flat out breathtaking how well he plays. All of these guys are hard to take down. They don't go down with one single tackle. They bust 3, 4, 5 tackles sometimes. He's got 2 tremendous playmakers in Thornton and Justice. Justice has so much speed that he adds to that team, and then he sprinkles in Eckler there with screens and angle routes, Texas routes, and routes out of the backfield. He can really hurt you when it comes to his offense. And then look at this offensive line. 1 sack in 9 games. That is craziness to me. Wow. I didn't get a sack on him at all, even though we did get some pressure. Jabril Peppers still leading that team. Wheeler is one of the top defensive players that you're going to see in this entire league. He can get after the quarterback. You've got both Mathers and Barmore that can both get after the quarterback there and then turning the ball over. Duggar, Gonzalez, Peppers can do it. Wheeler's kind of the mainstay there on defense, but I really like that his defense plays together as a team, and that offense just needs the quarterback to figure out a few more things. I think that the New England Patriots and Lost Sniper is one of the teams that you have to look out for. They're not there just yet. They are well on their way. What's going to be your team?
My team's looking for the AFC as well, and Roger's going to probably go like, get out of here, man. But the Houston Texans, I know they don't have wins in the win column. They got the losses, but you're starting to see his team kind of turn the corner. He's being really competitive, whereas before you saw that his teams were getting blowed out, wasn't even in the game. He was constantly saying that I can't figure out how to pass the ball. Well, here we are right now. He's got Stroud, 18 touchdowns, 22 interceptions, but right now he has a 57 completion percentage. At one time, he was talking about he had like a 40 something, so he's brought that up. He's starting to figure some things out. 300 yards per game passing, which is incredible. Speaking about his teams and his struggles, Stroud's almost got 3,000 yards passing. He's been sacked 19 times, but he's been really coming on as of late. And I see the corner turning a little bit for him. He's already got a really solid running attack. He's averaging about 4 to 5 yards per carry with his running backs. And he's got 3 running backs that are really pretty solid. It seems like he's got Pierce, Francis has a rookie running back. And then he's got another guy, Nate Wiggins, that are all contributing and putting good ground games together for him. And then you have his receiving, and we all know Roger likes to get fast wide receivers, but he's always saying, I can't get them the ball. Brandon DeMarco has 44 catches, 899 yards, almost 20 yards a catch, 7 touchdowns. He's almost averaging 100 yards a game. And then he's got a tight end that is second year in the league, 31 catches, 493 yards, 3 touchdowns. Kind of see him getting more involved in the offense. Will Monroe, a rookie wide receiver from this last draft, 37 catches, 413 yards, 4 touchdowns. So he's getting him involved. And then the guy that I wouldn't expect him to be getting involved is the 6'4" Chase Claypool, but he has 31 catches, 368 yards, no touchdowns, but he is moving the chains and getting those first downs because he is, I think, of what I saw, I think he's a slot receiver sometimes. So, but anyway, he's using this guy to move the chains. And then his defense, he's built this defense really well. He made some trades in the offseason. He got Tre'Davious White from the Bills. He got him over here. He's got 4 interceptions so far on the season. His second-year linebacker, Cody Pickles, is the top tackler for his team, 4 tackles for loss. He's got an interception. So, again, he's built this team really well. And if he continues on this current trend that he's on, like I said, you see him competing in these games, getting better, making guys work for their wins. Like I said, because there for a while he was getting blown out, and even in like the goal sheet, everybody was picking. Anybody that Roger was playing, they were picking to win, and 9 out of 10 times, they were winning on that. So, but he's really improved. You see things turning around, and I think the Texans are on the cusp of turning things around. Maybe not this season, next season.
Yeah, I'm pulling for him too. My next team is going to be the Los Angeles Rams. Again, I'm talking from firsthand knowledge here, but what Shiloh Bad is doing here is a very aggressive style, and he hasn't really had a ton of time to build this team to fit him. I think number one, he needs a quarterback. Jared Goff is okay, but 9 touchdowns, 15 interceptions, 49% completion percentage ain't going to get it done. Shiloh Bad, you should have been with Little Koch. Get that backup quarterback that he's gotten built up, put him on these Rams and start winning some games here, because this guy is not going to get it done for you with only 1,500 passing yards. Looking at the rushing, though, he's got a pretty decent running game here. Dobbins is still getting it done with almost 500 yards. I think you could kind of put in some youth there. Clay Middleton's only got 12 carries as a rookie. He's averaging 6.3 yards per carry, though. I'd like to see him start getting some more carries, especially here late in the season. Oof, this one hurts my heart. I don't know how no one's turned him in, but Shiloh Bad, 22 receptions, the nearest guy that's a receiver's at 11. That's not going to fly. We got to get that fixed. But Stan Barden is a stud. I hate looking at these stats and then seeing FPR breaks. But anyway, he is getting things done. This guy is a playmaker there. Noel, as a rookie, only 11 receptions on the year, but 243 yards, a 22.1 yard per catch average. Get them a quarterback. Let that quarterback get these the passes to, I almost said balls, but passes to these playmakers. Scotty Miller is there. There's a lot of playmakers here that just need more passing attempts. The offensive line is okay. Definitely an issue there with the left tackle with 6 sacks already on the season. Vander Esch, a super aggressive defensive style. He's able to make plays, though, and really force you into some tough plays. I forgot the defensive line that Tim left him. Cooper is an absolute superstar playmaker. This is a team on the rise. Go get a quarterback. Get that tight end issue figured out. Get you another left tackle, and I really, really like what you're doing in the offseason. Who's your second team? Uh-oh. Did I lose you?
Right there?
Now you're there.
Okay. All right. Yeah, my second team is from the NFC East, and it's the Eagles.
Good pick. That was in my other pick. I really like that.
Yeah. Really, we see from us doing the weekly rundowns and stuff, he's been very competitive in all the games. He's actually starting to get some really close wins here and there trickled in, and starting to see like his team kind of turn the corner a little bit. Hurts has got 17 touchdowns. He does have 12 picks, but he's averaging almost 240 yards a game passing. So that's really good passing stats so far, even in this league. I mean, you see some of the top guys, and they're probably not averaging that much per game. Hurts has been really he's been sacked quite a few times, 20 sacks. So I think his offensive line has had a turnaround a little bit, maybe. I think with some of the older guys, maybe either retiring or he couldn't keep them. But if he can get like the offensive line, I think transition and moving in the right direction, I think you see that that'll start paying dividends. If you look at one of the weak spots, I think in his team right now is his rushing attack.
It's terrible.
Yeah, you got Hurts as the leading rusher right now, 209 yards. And all the rest of the guys, they do have yards, 189 from a Cook. Swift has 175. Herbert has 104, but nothing really just to kind of hang your hat on and say, okay, I've got this running game, got this going, making the opposing defenses really respect that. And so I think that's really hurt him so far. And if he can get those things figured out, I think that'll help as well. But you look at his passing attack, he really spreads the ball around really well. You got your leading receiver, Devontae Smith, with 28, 494, only one touchdown. A.J. Brown's got 26 catches for 469, 2 touchdowns. Goddard really seems to be kind of like his key receiver in this, especially in the red zone. Obviously, he's got 5 touchdowns, so he's leading his receivers with the touchdown catches. And his big play receiver that he's got, Quez Watkins, is really the burner that kind of sets the tone. He's averaging only about 31 yards a game, but 4 touchdowns though, and so he really spreads the ball around. He got Swift with 2 touchdowns, and I'm not even going to try to say a Wookiee boom bomb.
Yeah, not me.
But he's got 2.
That's what I'm calling him.
Big Al. There you go. He's got two touchdowns on the season, and Cook's got a touchdown. So he's really spread the ball around a lot, which that can be good, and it can also be bad. But if you look at his offensive line, he's still got some of the main guys there, but he's got a first year guy that's there at the right tackle, and then he's got a younger guy, Juergens, there on the right guard. And then Steen is also kind of another younger guy. So he lost a lot of his core offensive linemen. But if he gets these guys built up by the end of the season, and with what he's done so far in this season, look for him to really, I think, make a move and going into next season, because he also has pieces on defense. He's built his defense pretty well with a lot of young guys that's got speed, and I think those guys are just going to continue to get better. And if those guys get better, his offensive line gets better, and if he gets a really legit rushing attack with one guy that kind of stands out that guys really have to pay respect to, I think you'll see the Eagles take a step in this next season.
Yep, I like them. Let me see if I can say what Trey phonetically pronounced for me. Okwudingbonum. Okwudingbonum. I can't say it all together, but Trey is spectacular at that and does that really well. All right, we're going to the OMFL news, the last one. We're going to skip the mailbag because my wife has now called me twice. She really needs me to do something, so we're going to have to wrap this. Was supposed to be short show up because it went long. So no OMFL news. No mailbag this week. We will get to it next week. There was only one new question anyway. I appreciate you, Trey, for doing that. All right, Mr. Denbrew, take it away with OMFL news number 3.
We are back with the OMFL News, segment 3, and we are going to take a look at my game of the week. I tried to find a game that has not been played yet and was a little bit of significance for both teams, and I think I got one here with the Raiders going on the road at 6-2, trying to keep pace with the Chargers, versus the Condors, our defending champ, at 4-4, trying to maintain his lead in the AFC South. The Raiders are red hot right now. They've won 5 in a row. The Raiders are led on offense by QB Brian Sherrod out of Abilene Christian, last year's 6th overall pick. The Raiders still have, looks like, Josh Jacobs leading the way on the ground, and Devontae Adams still the leading receiver for the Raiders. The Condors are led by Anthony Richardson, dual threat. He's thrown 22 touchdowns already on the year. And then they got the do-it-all back, Jonathan Taylor, having an outstanding year. And looks like Josh Downs is their primary receiving threat for the Condors. Condors, no surprise with the running backs and the way they run the ball. They lead the league in rushing. They are in the top 5 in passing and are very stingy against the run. So the Raiders have got their work cut out for them. The Raiders are a little bit more balanced on offense and defense. And looks like the line for this one is 5.5 with the Condors favored at home. The champs, 5.5 favored at home against the red hot Raiders. 2 young quarterbacks going at it. 2 really good running backs going at it. Looks like they both got some receiving threats. The Raiders got a nice tight end as well. The Condors got Isaiah Likely in a trade. I'm going to go with the champs, but I'm going to take the points. And I think Jay Bowles and the Raiders keep this one close. So my pick is, I'll take the Condors to win the game, but Jay Bowles to cover the 5.5. That's a wrap. Segment 3. I'm out. Back to Nate. Back to Maniac. Thanks for listening, folks.
I appreciate you, Mr. Denbrew. Hopefully you guys like his new little logo that he and I worked on and he's trying to make it a little bit different. Okay, we're going to put a bow on this show. I am a poet. It did not know it. Mr. Maniac, one final thought as we wrap things up here.
I like to talk too much. I've got to improve to get better, man. I really enjoy doing these shows, man. Really enjoy talking about the league. So much is going on. We got the Deuce is actually getting geared up to start season 30. That's kind of crazy to even say, but yeah, we're in season 30 in the Deuce over the last 5-6 years of Madden, something like that. But really, just the great community, man, and I'm glad to see the guys, some of the guys coming back, like Penguins and other ones getting back in the league, but yeah, I really want to see some of these guys really take a step forward. Like we're seeing, like, we just talked about the Texans and the Eagles. If we could see these guys be in the playoff hunt, oh man, it's gonna be so good, and I think they'll really enjoy it, because I know they've been kind of on the bottom for so long, and you want to see parity across the league as much as possible, and anytime that you have guys feeling like they have a chance to be in the thick of things, then it just improves the league altogether. So, I just want to encourage you guys to keep on, keep plugging away, and you'll get it. You'll get there. And thanks for having me on, man. I really appreciate and enjoy the show.
No, man, I love you being here. Let me say that my final thought, I got a lot of it out of my system last night as we played some of the shooter games, and a rant came out of me unexpectedly. So you guys are getting the more calm and collected version of my final thought. I will say we haven't had anyone for the hot seat in quite some time, so that is still an offer that's out there. We just have not had anybody offer in quite some time. And I've heard nothing about Neon Sports videos, so I guess I'm going to have to put on my thinking cap about what we could possibly make Neon Sports videos. But I love that Bill has been digging at it and using it a whole lot more. I love all of what Neon Sports gives us the ability to do. My closing thought is there's because of my makeup of who I am as a human and what I try to represent in the world, not just here in the OMFL and grown folks, but in my other aspects of my life, and that is someone that is full of mercy and grace and shows tons of area for people to grow and get better and correct maybe behavior or whatnot. I will say, though, there is one thing that gets a reaction out of me, maybe more than one. I'd probably say there's another. If you make things crazy personal about me, or just say things to me like we don't already have a relationship, that kind of gets a reaction. But the main one really is the culture here in Grown Folks and the OMFL. I really try very hard to protect the culture. It's why we have the leaders that we have. It's why we have the people that I asked to represent the OMFL, whether it's in content creation, whether it's on the board, whatever it may be. Those are all very intentionally selected. And when it comes to the culture of our league, it really is built around relationships and brotherhood and putting those things in front of other sort of agendas, whether it's your team, political, religious, whatever your agenda may be in that moment. And I feel like that word agenda is like maybe not the perfect word to use there, but what I have seen in the last 2 weeks in my chat, let's not get it twisted, I've put in the work over 20 plus years in the OMFL, over the last 7 or 8 years here in Grown Folks. My chats, the interactions that I've seen about the NFL playoffs have been embarrassing. The DM interactions that I've had about the NFL playoffs, about teams who can't handle losing, about teams who can't handle winning, which can oftentimes be harder than handle losing. It's how do you carry yourself and act when you're winning? These things have been really embarrassing. And the interactions that I've seen about the NFL playoffs in particular have made me cringe. And it's gotten to a point where something has had to be said. And I'm saying it out loud to everyone right now. Be better. Treat each other better. Be a fan. Be passionate. Have fun, but remember, your tone can't be understood. Often you don't have a relationship with the people that you're speaking to in general chat to joke or to rib or to give a hard time to. Chill out. And these ugly debates and ugly responses that we've had to people, whether you like what is being said or not, is not acceptable. We have to be better. We will be better. and steps are being taken to have serious grown adult conversations. At the end of the day, this is all fantasy land. This content is fantasy land. The video game that we play, fantasy land. This is all fantasy land. This is all a place for us to unplug from the stresses of life, build really great relationships. Like it is my personal, you don't all pick to do this. I get it. This is my unplug. I don't hunt. I don't fish. I don't have a problem with doing those things. I just don't do them. I don't hang out with the boys. I don't go drinking. I don't go bowling. I don't do it. This is my unplug. This is my reset from all the other areas of my life. And like, I look forward to logging into voice chat, hearing Maniac, doing Press Pass Live, playing with Pootie and Kevin and Bird, some of the nicest guys some super depressing, but also super nice guys. Like, I look forward to doing these things. That is what Grown Folks is about. That's what the OMFL is about. And when I see us doing things that actually hinder people from wanting to chat, hinder from people wanting to be in Discord, hinder people from wanting a relationship, people telling me I'm not talking to so-and-so ever again, I will not interact with so-and-so. That's not a thing. It's not a thing. And either you will be removed or you will ask as an adult to be better. And I'm saying it out loud, OMFL, let's just be better. Let's watch how we're talking to people. I try not to use some of the language that I see being used in chat, but just blasting some of that language out at somebody that you haven't even really talked to. Like, we got to be better than that. We have to do better. So that's my way of trying to correct this, as well as the other things I'm doing. And I really better go before my wife gets here and kills me for not doing the little things that she did. So, Maniac, thank you. Thank you for being here. I know it's busy in the deuce right now with the off season, but I appreciate you guys. I promise we will open up the mailbag next week. We just had the one new question from Trey and some old questions that we need to finish off. So we will get back to those next week. Maniac and I are trying to find some games that we can call. It's just been crazy busy, and now everybody's healthy here. The off season is going to be over for Maniac. We'll find some games that we can play or at least call. So tons of fun. So let me know if you want to be on the hot seat. And until then, take care of yourself. Take care of those around you. I can't wait to see you on the next one. Peace.
Deuces.
Smash that like and subscribe.